Hey guys, Chad Hoover, Kayak Bass TV. I want to talk to you about my top 5 or 6 presentations for finding fish in the spring. Those fish in transition, meaning they're off the beds, they've moved out to deeper water, not deep water, but deeper water. And so one of the things I like to start with is this jointed structure head and a Zako swim bait. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get out there and start catching fish on it, but that's one of my go-to get started baits. My 1-2 punch for search baits, depending on the time of the day, is my top water, top toad. That's a real easy, throw it into pocket, slow reel it out of there and find out if the fish are aggressive and if they're hitting the top water. And then a shallow running crankbait. This is a KVD 1.5. It's not a square bill, it's more of a dovetail, and that thing searches really well. The fish absolutely annihilate it. We smashed these on it for the last 2 weeks. So when they're on the shad bite, you can't go wrong with that. Now, I kind of double that up with a spinnerbait, and the clearer the water and the more they see the spinnerbait, the more I tend to go to that little bait with a little wobble to it. So you can interchange that with the spinnerbait. Later in the day, as the fish drop off into a little bit deeper water, or if the water's a little more stained, I like to go to a little bit deeper diving crankbait. This is a sexy shad, and that's something when the sun's up bright, it's gonna be a bright lure that's gonna really do well in clear water. This is the silent version because I don't want that knocking and that rattling in clearer water with bright sun, so that's something to also keep in mind. I'm gonna do a little bit more in-depth discussion about that once we get out on the water. A 1-2 punch with the top toad, and something that is a bit of a novelty in the beginning, but I am having a lot of fun throwing, is this suicide duck. And what I like about it is I can reel it fast and kick up a rooster tail, or I can reel it real slow and those legs churn the water. But the most important thing about this bait is when I stop reeling it, it sets perfect, or if I speed it up and then snatch it and stop it, it'll turn sideways, which really elicits a lot of crazy strikes. So that suicide duck has become part of my go-to springtime transition, post-spawn, real big time search bait. And as the baby ducks start hatching and as the baby geese, the goslings start hatching, that thing becomes deadly effective. Low light, high light, anytime the fish are aggressive in feeding, that bait is super successful. But here's a little rig that I've done really well on ever since I discovered this little tungsten bead from Woo Tungsten, and that is what I call the clickbait rig. So basically, it's just a bead. They're both free floating. This is a shaky head plastic, a perfect plastic, KVD perfect plastic from Strike King, a 4/0 big mouth tube hook from Mustad, and the ticket to this is to have the hook exposed so the bead clicks against it, and then the bullet weight clicks against that. But when you're fishing pressured waters, or when you're off peak and the fish has slowed down, putting it in their face, jiggling it, making that little bit of clicking noise to get their attention. That thing right there in deep grass and shallow wood, on the bed, off the bed, and pretty much anywhere you could fish the jointed structure head, but you're looking for a little bit more of a finesse presentation, that thing right there is phenomenal. So that is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my top 6 spring fishing in transition, figuring out where they are baits. Like I said, I do a 1-2 punch with that crankbait, with the spinnerbait. I sometimes slow roll the spinnerbait, but I usually reserve that for a little bit more of a summer pattern when they're getting into deeper water. But again, I'm fishing the plastics when they're off peak and they've slowed way down. I'm fishing the crankbait, the duck, and the frog when they are really aggressive, and that tends to put a whole bunch of fish for me in the boat in the spring, that spring into summer transition. But it's also a great setup for me to go out there and kind of figure out what kind of mood the fish are in, what they're doing, and what they're eating. So we'll play with color a little bit, we'll play with sun angle and presentation, but that's my top 6 baits for finding fish in the spring.